true self or the deep self, the person that we are created to be, the logos of our being, in other words, that which we were created for by the logos. The Word spoke a word, and we came to be. God spoke the Word, and God spoke the logos, and the logos spoke the logi words of created beings. And it's the spiritual constitution. The rational aspect of our consciousness also has an aspect of the image of God. It's an aspect. Reason itself is an image of the logos. But the rational mind creates an identity. Because what happened in the fall is that there was a disconnect between the noetic and the rational. The rational took over and buried the noetic, buried the spiritual consciousness. So if you look at Adam before the fall, Adam and Eve before the fall, they walked in the garden with God. They could perceive God freely. It was their spiritual sense was dominant, right? After the fall, after they ate the apple, what happened? Adam and Eve were afraid of God. And they hid themselves, and they realized that they were naked, and so they tried to make themselves aprons out of plant leaves, and finally God gave them garments of skin as He cast them out of Eden. And so what happened? They got stuck in their minds. They got stuck in their rational minds, in their emotions, and their thoughts, and their feelings, their imagination. And instead of being the reflection of God, the image of God, the reflection of God, the word for a reflection or an image in a mirror is it's the same as the image of God. And the word is icon, actually. It reflects our true nature. When we truly reflect the image of God, we truly become the person that God created us to be. Because each person uniquely reflects God in a unique way. Because each person is unique. Each person is of ultimate value. And that's why, for example, the noose, which comes into being at the moment of conception, and as well as the beginnings of a mind, for a tiny embryo, doesn't have much in the way of a rational mind, but though by the second or third month it already has begun to develop. But it does have a nous. It does have a true identity. It is a human being. It is a human life. And that's why it's unthinkable for us to do abortion. Unthinkable. So, because it's the destruction of the image of God, just like the murder of a person is the destruction of the image of God. And the church is absolutely univocal on this, speaking with one voice and one mind from the time of Christ and before. So as Orthodox Christians, abortion is never, ever acceptable. It's also important to realize that the church is meant to be the conscience of society.